Did you know U.S. national parks bring in over 55 billion a year, or that they help fight climate change? Welcome to my podcast, The Protected Place, where we dig into the wild side of science, nature, and society. I'm Roman McAdams, and today we're asking, why do national parks matter? To start, there are many threats to national parks as of 2025. Things like budget cuts, reduced staffing, impacts from climate change, privatization and commercial development, and resource extraction near park borders that are all threats to national parks. National parks have a ton of benefits like conservation of biodiversity, climate regulation, scientific research, protection of heritage, learning opportunities, mental and physical wellness, and so many more. Parks need to be preserved, if not expanded, for the sake of the people and the earth. So let's talk a little bit about biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variety of life in the world or in a particular habitat or ecosystem. So the types of greenery in a forest, the birds, bugs, mammals, reptiles, and every other living thing. Each place has some biodiversity, and national parks have tons. According to the National Park website, in a 2014 article titled Biodiversity of National Parks, What's Relevance Got to Do with It, by Glenn Plum, Edward O. Wilson, Sally Plum, and Paula J. Ehrlich. It is estimated that 80 to 90% of organisms in national parks are still undiscovered, which is an insane number. This means that there are tons of animals, plants, fungi, and more that have not been discovered or are unknown to that park. Should we deny these organisms the chance of being discovered and loved by ruining their ecosystem? Not only that, but biodiversity is breathtaking. Here's a quote from the National Park website in the same article. Personally, only the most inattentive of park visitors do not find themselves taking a short breath in wonder and delight when first encountering a park's diversity of life. Majestic trees, expansive prairie, tender wildflowers, teeming wild fish, charismatic wild predators and prey, a hatch of the salmon fly, marine mammals, migratory birds and butterflies on their long journeys, cold-blooded amphibians and reptiles, coral reefs, and the colorful extremophiles of acidic hot springs. There's so much out there to witness and observe, so why is it not more of a concern to keep the parks nice? Another example of biodiversity is a study released in 2017 about bee diversity in California. It's called Decades of Native Bee Diversity Surveys at Pinnacles National Park highlight the importance of monitoring national areas over time by John M. Myers and others. Bees are important, right? Because they're pollinators. They found that 450 native species of bees in Pinnacles National Park, showing that just in that specific national park, there's 450 species of almost the same animal running around in their respected areas. Each of those 450 species is needed in the ecosystem and has its own place. These animals need to be protected so that the ecosystem can continue to thrive. Next, I want to talk about some scientific reasons for national parks. There are things from actual breakthroughs, the research of animals, plants, and environment to global warming and environmental issues. The first article I want to mention is called America's First Century of Marine National Park Stewardship by Gary Davis and others. This article talks about the evolution of marine conservation in the U.S. national park system over the past century. They mention the establishment of marine protected areas and the challenges faced in preserving marine ecosystems. One of the things they notice is that support by the public goes a long way. They say public understanding and support are crucial for the long-term success of marine protected areas. I like this quote because I think that if more people cared and understood the potential of national parks, they would not be in danger. So I want to talk a little bit about climate change now. It's something that's happening, and there are things we can do to help. And one of those things has something to do with the national parks. In an article titled Science for National Resource Management under Climate Change, Emerging Applications of Climate Change Research to Natural Resource Management, show how science provides key information for agencies to take action for vulnerable ecosystems, by Patrick Gonzalez. This article talks about how climate change research is being applied to natural resource management. By implementing the science on climate change into management strategies, we can help ecosystems adapt. There's a lot of reasons that cause climate change, but here's what Patrick Gonzalez says. Motor vehicles, power plants, deforestation, and other human sources emit twice the amount of greenhouse gases that vegetation, soils, and the oceans can naturally absorb. That is the fundamental imbalance that causes climate change. So what can we do about that? I think we need people to care more about these areas. The more we care, the better we can take care of them, or maybe even expand them. Because the more vegetation, soil, and better quality of the ocean areas we have, the more greenhouse gases we can reduce. Seems like a pretty easy option to me. So, another thing the parks do is bring in a lot of money for the United States and provide people with jobs. According to the U.S. Department of the Interior in a 2024 article titled National Parks Contributed a Record High of $55.6 billion to the U.S. economy and supported 415,000 jobs in 2023. Sorry, that was kind of gave it away, but they found that 325.5 million visitors spent $26.4 billion in communities near national parks. The spending supported 415,400 jobs and provided $19.4 billion in labor income and $55.6 in economic output to the U.S. economy. Now, that's a lot of income. National parks are not useless for income because they do bring in a lot. Compared to other things, they might not be bringing in as much, but the more love and time we put into them, they could be bringing in a lot more. So, let's talk about something that has happened pretty recently. Job cuts. Now, no one likes to be fired, especially when it's a shock, but it happens. But on a mass scale to fields that were already struggling, that's not right. According to a CBS news article by Karen Hua, the layoffs at the Park Service amounted to about 5% of the agency's workforce and approximately 20,000 employees. That is a ton of people from something that didn't have very many people to begin with. Those people were managing 85 million acres of land, and they were being cut from their jobs. That is no way to help the national parks. So, what can we do? I think the more we spread the word of national parks' potential and start caring more about them, we can benefit from all the good they provide. They help with funds, global warming, scientific research, and so much more, so they could really use our help. So, spread the word and go explore, enjoy, and support the nearest national park to you. Thank you.